So there's this video going around right now called A Brief History of Fat, and within it there's a few scientists, like a 20 long minute video. I'll put in the link in the description. But there's a couple scientists going on about how, fat is necessary to humans, which I completely agree with, right? And the advent of industrialization and agriculture and all these things have contributed to us being more obese, etc., than we naturally were, right? Because as hunter gatherers, whatnot, it was much harder to gain food, to get food, and you had to expend a lot of calories to get that food. So this helped us stay in fairly good shape. And because we don't have to do that anymore, it's a lot easier to get food. We are a lot lazier or whatever. We don't have to have as much effort to get it. But one of the things I think they fail to mention is the contribution of socialism and socialized healthcare, and how that also contributes and incentivizes people to eat more food, get unhealthier, because there is nothing, they don't have to really think about the consequences, because something is going to be taken, they're going to be taken care of. And one thing that kind of bugged me was what one guy said. I'll play it right now so you can hear it.
I find it hard to understand why you should get so upset because someone happens to carry a few kilograms of extra adipose tissue around. They're not actually impacting on your life in any way.
And see, I disagree with that right there, because most of us live in socialized countries with, healthcare and stuff. So by you being overweight, that does impact us negatively, right? If we did not have a socialized healthcare system, then I wouldn't care, right? I'd be like, hey, eat as much shit as you want, be as fat as you want. I don't give a shit, because you're going to be the one paying for it. But when you have a socialized healthcare system, then you have all these different people who are now footing the bill for you being fat, right? And even within Canada, if you are depressed and overweight, we will pay for your liposuction. So you being overweight in our modern societies is bad for us. And they just fail to mention the fact that socialism is a massive contributor to why people are more unhealthy, right? And sure, you can point at some socialist countries that where people like Cuba and whatnot, where they are pretty healthy, but that's because they have access to a lot less food, right? They don't have as much food. So if you couple in, a mixed economy essentially, with where capitalism is producing a lot of excess shit, and you have a lot of socialized systems, then you are essentially incentivizing a lot of bad behavior, because you have all these excess resources, and you have socialism coupled with that. What do you think people are going to do? Yes, people, like, you can't blame people in this aspect, right? Because, if you have certain incentives for people, they're going to follow these incentives. Now, other people, even though you have all these incentives in place in society, some people can still stay skinny, right? Even though we all genetically still have the same urges to eat excess amount of foods and get excess amount of calories, right? So it is still, we can still kind of blame the individual for being overweight too. And it is, the guy was bringing up, he's like, it's not quite like breathing and stuff, but it is pretty close. It's like, no. The difference between us and animals is essentially we have delayed gratification. And these people that are overweight within our society do have delayed gratification, because there are the incentives in place that is even worse for them, because they don't have delayed gratification, and we have the incentives in place because of socialism. They're going to get overweight and stuff. And you look, and it's usually the poorest people who are the most overweight, right? Within societies, within our Western societies, and people who are richer and typically more intelligent, right, are thinner, right? Because they have that delayed gratification response. So this is why socialism, these types of things, are not good for the poor, right? You can increase welfare, all this shit, but you're just going to get more people on welfare, right? Because you're just incentivizing the certain types of people to go on it because that is better for them than working within the free market or whatever. So by removing a lot of this socialized healthcare and try to privatize it a little bit more, then you have people making less harmful decisions because they're going to have to foot the bill on their own, right? When you take away that responsibility, that's when you get people acting fucking crazy. Now, there are some people who will restrain themselves, but there are plenty of people who are not very intelligent who will not restrain themselves. And yes, it is biological. I agree that humans want excess calories. Yes, I agree with the premise of the video, but they're just leaving out the aspect of society, right, that is essentially driving a lot of this. So that's pretty much what I had to say about the video. And if you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.